I'm just jamming. I'm just clowning around. Well, this is a very important lesson. This lesson is about practice routines. So, practice routine. What is a practice routine? Well, it's something that is going to give you a chart, give you a program to go on every week or every month or whatever time limit or time for you to practice, for you to get better at practicing. We got to have a routine, a practice routine. Just can't say, well, hey, you're going to have a lesson with me next week and just do whatever you want to do this week. No, you've got to have a schedule. And that's what I'm trying to give you in this lesson, a basic schedule for a practice routine. So I have a PDF file that you can get from the Guitar Zone, or I can send it to you if you email me. A practice routine. And you can use this to make your own or give you ideas, or you can print mine and just kind of fill it in any way you want. It's going to give you a way to put in the date, the number of your chart, because you might have several of them or a whole bunch of them. And it's going to talk about, okay, what do you want to divide your time into in a circular pie shape, okay? And you're going to divide it up into what you're practicing. It could be scales, arpeggio time. You could have chord progression time, iReal Pro time. You're working with your charts, you're jamming, you're learning improvising techniques, your ear training. Might be songs you're working on. Reading music, maybe. Maybe we're working on that. Reading tabs along with that, maybe. Video study. Video study of your lessons and research that you do. Artist study. Other guitar players that you like. And then maybe there's a clown around a time. I hope not. But I gave you a little clown around time. But, really, when you're really trying to learn, you don't want to clown around, okay? That's bad advice. So, practice routines. Well, it depends on your level, okay? Are you a beginner? Are you at beginning level, intermediate, advanced, super pro? And what your goals and what issues you may have. And when I say issues, well, that could be you have work, you have a family, you have other things that are important of your life, but we want guitar to be part of your daily routine. To get good, this is what you need to do to practice. I know this from 50 years experience. You have to make guitar part of your life. So your routine is really important. That you get into your routine just like you do anything else. You get up in the morning, you clean up, you have your breakfast, your coffee. You have a routine that you do before you go about your day usually. Well, maybe guitar should be a little bit of that. Maybe at lunchtime it should be part of that. Your business or wherever you are. Maybe after dinner, before you go to bed, guitar should be a part. I like the idea of having at least a couple practice times during the day if it's possible. If it's not, you've got to do one longer practice time. And if you get regimented into the same time every day, it becomes part of your daily routine. Okay? That word routine is really important. If you only practice 20 minutes, a half hour a day, if that's all you practice, I found from teaching my students over all these years that you could probably get by with a lesson with me every week, but you're not going to make great progress. You really need to get into that hour range. And I also say to my students, we have marathon sessions. Maybe it's a Saturday or Sunday where you've got extra time or you're making extra time to get that couple 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hour practice time in and really get into your guitar and into going beyond that regular hour practice every day. I like to say hour because hour is a good way to divide up that pie. So you divide the pie, maybe 10 minutes is warm up. Just your chromatic scale and your natural scale, maybe learning notes. If you're a beginner, this is what you may be doing. The next part of your lesson or your time in the pie might be 10 minutes of working with scales, new scales that you're working on. And of course, you're paying attention to your finger placement and all those great rules that we have. And then maybe it's arpeggios. Maybe you're at the point where you're working on arpeggios, so you might work on that for 5-10 minutes. Then you may go into the next part where what may be working on with chord progressions or chords, new chords you're learning. You may be at the level where we're working with iReal Pro and you're working with progressions and learning how to strum and working with rhythms. So that would be another part of the pie. Maybe that's 15 or 20 minutes. And then maybe your lesson, the last 20 minutes of your lesson is reviewing everything. At some point, maybe it'll be the last 15, 20 minutes is you're working on a song that we're working on. So you can divide the pie up into all different kind of areas. I like to say 10, 15 minutes of this. If you do 15 minutes and you got 4 quarters, you got the pie cut like that. So 15 minutes of scales, arpeggios, 15 minutes of chords and progressions, 15 minutes of maybe a song or a progression or a boogie or a shuffle or something like that you're working on. And then 15 minutes of review, where you review over everything once more. So there's all kinds of ways to divide your pie up, your practice pie, your practice routine. So I hope you download or ask me to give you the PDF on practice routine. And this may help you, to get you stimulated to practice. When you have that sheet in front of you of the pie, the practice routine, wherever you're practicing, and you're able to look at that and look at your clock and go, okay, well, I've got 15 minutes to do this, 15 minutes or 20 minutes to do this, 20 minutes to do this, and then I've got 10 minutes to just kind of review everything. It really helps to learn to get into a routine of practice. It's very, very important. If you break your routine and you miss a day, well, you should try to make that up. Just like when you were in school or college, okay? You've got to make that time up. That's a good system to get into it. So guitar should be fun, but also very serious. And this is where your practice routine is very, very important. If we're going to make progress and you're going to work to attain your goals, you've got to get into a system of practicing. Practice routine. Now, some of the practice routine depends on your issues, your level you're at, maybe the age you're at. Children, different. Teenagers may be different. Students, you got the thing of going to school, college, or whatever you're doing. Maybe your work has odd times. And you may have some mental issues. Maybe you have the ADHD or you have autism or some kind of affliction that you're dealing with, some kind of issue. So you have some kind of mental thing going on. Or maybe it's a physical thing. Maybe you're a little bit elderly, you've got some arthritis issues. Or maybe there's some other kind of health issues or something to do. Maybe you're trying to figure it out, trying to learn how to work with your issue. Your physical issue, your mental issue. That's why guitar playing is so great. So great to learn because where there's a will, there's a way. Your pie may also be divided at some point into reading music, which is very great to learn to do, to be able to play with a lot of different musicians, open up a lot of doors for other styles of music, especially in classical, Baroque, Renaissance music, that kind of stuff, and modern music and jazz. Fusion, reading music and actually seeing those notes in manuscript and charts is really good to know. So you've got to divide the pie. You've got to divide the practice routine pie, and it can change. You can have different pies for different days. Or maybe this pie for this week, you change it up the next week. For a month, maybe you stick to that one pie and then you tweak it in. You go, oh, well, I think I needed more time on this. or by week. I think Robert says I need more time on this, or I think I need more time doing this. So you tweak it in. You give yourself, maybe instead of 10 or 15 minutes, you give yourself 20 minutes. Maybe some weeks you give yourself a half hour just on that every day. And then you divide the pie differently, okay? So you're evaluating your progress over time. You really can't do it day by day so much, but by week, by month, and by months, you look back and go, well, where was I 2 months ago or 3 months ago? And you're able to start to gauge your progress. And you can develop your pies, your routines, accordingly to get better at it. So you got to be serious. You got to be really serious about your practice routine. A sense of humor is good. You got to laugh at yourself sometimes. I said, you saw me clowning around when I started this video. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I don't want to be toxic in any way, but, I was trying to just do what I do sometimes. I'm human. I am. But everyone learns differently. All my students over the years, thousands of students and people I've taught and jam with, everyone learns different. Not two really the same. We all have different issues going on, good things and bad things, and handicaps and what all, our lifestyles, our culture. We have to develop our practice routine and how we learn. It's individual. We're all different. We have to learn what it takes, how I have to practice to attain my goals, to get to where I want. And it can be done, but you got to be mindful of it. So you got to be stimulated. You got to have the attitude. Good luck. Just keep working on it. Don't give up on it. Keep tweaking it in. You're welcome to email me. I'll give you more on this subject in the future on practice routines and stimulus, okay? It's all part of the Groovy plan. All right. Get your chart, your PDF from me, the practice routine, and that'll be a start for you. And you can print them off or whatever. Let's get going on it. Let's get the routine going. That would be groovy.